Hey guys, Easy45 here. You might have heard of this game called you've heard of it. Come on now, you probably got 50 hours in it right now. It's a game I've definitely been enjoying since release, and I just wanted to make a quick video about it and why I think it was just what the doctor ordered and everything I think makes it great. And make sure to comment your take on the game too and what you think of it so far. And with that, let's get started. Marvel Rivals came out at the perfect time, I felt like, a time where specifically me and my friends were looking for new games to add to our rotation. At this point, it was just really Fortnite, at least 80% of the time. We did dabble in other games, but really needed something unique to add to the game pool. We've had games come in and out in the past, one of which being Overwatch 2 when it came out. I mean, it was Overwatch, but free, how could we not? Everyone had the same mindset though, which led to the horrendous wait times just to get in the game. We did enjoy our time with it, however, but at the end of the day, it's Overwatch 2, so of course we ended up dipping. So when Marvel Rivals was first announced, all I could be was excited. I mean, as hero shooter with actual superheroes, I get to play as Spider-Man. As a big comic book and superhero fan, how could I not be excited for this? Along with excitement though, came a worried side of me. Most new games, especially multiplayer games that try to break into the market, usually fall flat or become forgotten. I mean, think how many new multiplayer games in the last 5 years have actually stayed somewhat relevant. Projects like Realm Royale, Spellbreak, Rogue Company, Multiverses, etc, etc. I could be here all day. I just didn't want this game to be any of those, especially since the game looked like it was taking a lot of inspiration from Overwatch. I just didn't want it to be a dead clone, but an upgrade. The game was coming from development studio NetEase, who made games I have never heard of. Like seriously, not one game in their portfolio I know about. They do however have previous history with Marvel, having worked on 2 other Marvel themed games. So to have experience with the Marvel mythos, which definitely shows, but I'll get to that later. So, relatively unknown studio collaborating with Marvel to make this new big hero shooter. Despite it, people including me were hyped. Like again, how could I not? I get to punch people as Spider-Man, leading to one of the things that caught my eye from the trailers, the combat. Now most hero shooters do have 1 or 2 melee focused characters, but Marvel Rivals has way more. Other than Spider-Man, I saw Magic with her sword, Black Panther, and we all know too well, Iron Fist. And others. Then you can destroy the environment like in the finals, which was neat but wasn't really the main selling point, at least for me. That would be, of course, the unique mechanic of team-ups. With Marvel Rivals' main ploy of bringing people in, being the Marvel IP and these established characters we all know and love, it was a smart move to have it so they interacted in the game somehow, other than voice lines of course. I was so hyped when I first saw this because it's such a cool feature. You get to perform the iconic fastball special, ride on Groot as Rocket or Jeff, get Venom powers as Spidey or Penny, using the established relationships between these characters as ways to fight in the game. The Scarlet Witch is Magneto's daughter, so they have a team up. Hawkeye and Black Widow are best friends, so they have a team up, etc. It's also a great way to get players to try out different characters, as they want to try out the different team ups. So eventually the beta launched and players got to get their hands on the game and see what it was made of, and if all those flashy trailers held up. And I was not one of those players. I don't remember why, I just don't think I had the time for it when it was out, so I didn't really get to play the beta. But I did hear a lot about it, and what I heard was good. A lot of creators were making content showcasing the game and giving it praise. Of course it still had issues as it was just a beta and things had to be tweaked, but for the most part the game was receiving good press. This helped calm my worrying of this game becoming another overhyped flop. The way people were talking about the beta, it sounded like this would be the Overwatch killer we needed when it released. I was really betting on this game to again free me and my friends of this drought and give us something fun to play, other than what was currently in our rotation. Because at this point, I had a lot of faith. The game still wasn't released though, so I couldn't get ahead of myself. Flash forward to December 5th, 2024, and it was only 1 day away from release. More and more trailers were dropping leading up to this point. Cinematics, character trailers, gameplay. The hype bubble was building and minds was about to burst. I mean, just a week or something before the game even came out and revealed Wolverine, Squirrel Girl, Black Widow, and Hawkeye. At least I think that was all the characters they released. Like what? That was such a power move. Like, oh yeah, by the way, the game's about to come out, but that's not even the base roster for real. It's gonna be 33 at launch. So again, December 5th, I wait patiently because the release date was announced for December 6th. At least that's what I thought. It was technically the 6th for some time zones, but I had found out that evening that for my time zone, it released that day. at like 7 p.m. I believe, and it was like an hour after that. So the game was out. I immediately opened Steam and clicked download faster than Kang's run in the MCU. I text my friends exclaiming that the game has finally released and we can get it right now. Fortunately, everyone was busy at the time, but I was still able to download the game and get a first taste. Never felt such joy opening a new multiplayer game in a long time. I didn't want to play a match till my friends and I could all join up, so I took a look around the menu and tested some characters. I think the UI of the game is nice and stylish, while also not being too complicated. I also had fun testing out different characters and seeing how everybody played. Eventually we did all band together, and of course have been having a great time with the game ever since, just like everybody else. There's just so much good I have to say about this game. For one, I mean, what can I say that hasn't already been said? The game is just satisfying to look at. The animations are crisp and smooth, and the colors are just perfect. Speaking of animation, one of my friends had pointed out how there's an animation for just about everything in game. I was seriously blown away by the intros for the skins. Like, it's not for every skin, but the fact that some skins have not only an MVP animation with them, but also an intro animation. Like, again, it's the animation you get just for clicking on the skin. Like, that is so hard. Like, that was absolutely not needed, but it's a thing anyway. Same with the battle pass animations. This game is just so flashy. Having an animation for all this stuff just makes everything feel important. Now, although I love the art direction for this game overall, there is the actual character designs for the heroes, and don't get me wrong, okay, I'm very much for changing up things for adaptations of comic book characters. I mean, most of these guys have been around for over 50 years, if not at least a decade, with the exception of Luna and Jeff. So these characters being around so long, why not change things up now and again? I'm fine with what they did with Superman's powers and My Adventures with Superman, because it's just a nice little twist on this specific version of the character. Everyone knows Superman and how he works, so this one show isn't going to change how people know him. Same with Marvel Rivals and its takes on the characters. But I will say some things do feel over-designed. The prime suspect for me being Spider-Man. I mean, just look at him. This rivals the MCU in character design. I remember when the trailers first came out and I saw my favorite superhero of all time looking like this. Granted, I have warmed up to it and I don't think it's the worst Spider-Man design in the world, but it's definitely unique, and ultimately I think it fits perfectly for the style the game is overall going for. Like, the character designs overall I rock with. They're distinctive and I like what the game has gone for them. I mean, this is technically its own universe. Plus, these are some of my favorite adaptation designs for some of these characters. Like, I love how Mantis, Squirrel Girl Magic, and my goat Moon Knight look. Like, you can tell they know about these characters and wanted to stay true to their comic looks, while also of course doing their own thing, which leads me into another thing I love about the game. Again, I'm quite big into comics, and maybe not to the point most fanatics are, but I like to collect and read when I can, either getting physical copies or reading digitally, but I prefer physical. So to see this game care so much about these characters' comic book origins is amazing. You can really tell they know a lot about the Marvel mythos. This is where the bros' previous 2 Marvel games they worked on come into play, because it shows. They have experience with these characters and know their stuff. For one, the skins. A lot of the skins for the characters are based on comic book costumes. We got stuff like Ben Reilly's Chasm suit, Superior Iron Man, Mr. Knight, and Anti-Venom, to name a few, and classic comic book skins for characters like Storm, Magneto, Mantis, and Psylocke. They also show love to the movies, well, at the very least the MCU for right now, with plenty of skins to choose from their adaptations of the characters. And one detail I really love is how they let you know exactly where the skin originates from. They have this little text that will tell you the exact comic issue it first appeared in. Not only is this a cool feature for comic people like me, but for more casual audiences, if they see a skin that perks their interest, they can see where it came from and potentially have them do research on it, leading to maybe reading the comic book for themselves, creating yet another comic obsessed individual. The feature also lists the movie the skin comes from, if it's, well, from a movie, along with what season of the game it's from if it's a Marvel Rivals original skin. Another way this game shows love to Marvel as a whole is including more lesser known characters in their roster, like characters that haven't shown up in a blockbuster movie so general audiences don't really know about them. Characters like Squirrel Girl, Jeff the Landshark, Magic, and Cloak and Dagger. I know Cloak and Dagger had a show, but it was honestly really low key and I doubt a lot of people really know about them from it. But yes, it's great to see characters like this, and shows that we can really get anyone in the game, and doesn't have to be characters that appeared in high budget movies and TV shows. It also introduces players to these characters, which again can lead them to doing more research and learning more about these guys. It's so cool to see everyone falling in love with Jeff, at least when not playing against him. The memes about Squirrel Girl's baked goods, and everyone sweating with Psylocke and magic, and also enjoying Cloak and Dagger. It joys me to see these characters I know and love like Jeff and Squirrel Girl, or characters I knew but not as well like Magic and Psylocke get more love. And almost forgot to mention a character I didn't even know before this game, being Luna Snow. I was scratching my head trying to figure out what comic she's from. Turns out she isn't even from a comic at all. She originated from a video game, and that video game is not Marvel Rivals but the mobile game Marvel Future Fight. I had absolutely no idea she was an original character from that game, because I'm more of a Strike Force type of guy, but that's besides the point. It just again shows that NetEase knows their stuff and no character is off the table. I mean, who would have expected a mobile game character out of all the characters Marvel has to be chosen for this game? NetEase's 2 previous Marvel projects are also both mobile games, so I guess it makes sense. Trying to check out both under game portfolio. Marvel Super Wars page won't even load, and Marvel Duel is still advertising Quantum Mania. But yeah, loving the representation everyone is getting. I also really quickly like how they are also including characters who, though have been in movies or shows, still aren't also as big as others. Like Penny showing up in this game is so cool. Most people like me know her from the Spider-Verse movies, but I also love how they have a more comic accurate version of her in game, even including stuff from her comic like the Venom suit. And finally, before this video gets too long, another thing I love about the game is again, I love how they are going in their own direction with these characters as well. So it's so cool to see they have their own story going on with the 2 Doctor Dooms. Sure, it's another multiverse story, but I think it works with considering this is a game with skins in their own Marvel Rivals universe of characters. Being able to read up on the lore too via the in-game comic books and text you can unlock via playing. Since I play a lot of the Spider characters, I unlocked the whole Spider Zero lore page and got to read up on that. It's also very cool how they have that built into the game modes, like helping Spider Zero or trying to stop her depending on what side you're on. Now, I don't exactly know a lot about the story and need to watch/read up on that, and if I find any good sources for that, I'll link them in the description, because you know, not everyone wants to unlock and read the in-game stuff. But again, I just love how they have their own story going on in the background. I would love to see PvE game modes or a campaign in the future, since Overwatch sure isn't doing them. But to conclude, I feel not only was Marvel Rivals a breath of fresh air for me and my friends, but the gaming community as a whole. People really haven't been enjoying these hero shooters we have now. There's of course Overwatch and all its problems. Team Fortress 2 has gotten better but still suffers from Valve paying it like no mind. Paladins is a game me and my friends very much enjoy. I have like over 1600 hours in it after all. But if you know Paladins, you know it's kind of just there sometimes. Like I wouldn't say it's dead, but it's definitely not thriving. I constantly take hiatuses from the game and just come back whenever I feel like it. But not to go too far off track, yes, this game definitely was needed to shake up the market. And that it did. Everyone and their mom is enjoying this game, making memes and sharing clips online. I can definitely see this game winning multiple awards at next year's Game Awards. This game has the potential to be the next big multiplayer game if they keep this train going steady, and I very much look forward to the future of this game. And with that, I think I said all I wanted to say. Comment down below your thoughts on the game and what draws you to it, as well as anything I might have missed that you think others should know. And with that, peace.
Fish in the sea's the one for me.